Okay, welcome once again. So, karon is we are now proceeding sa kaning video, still under C flow control, but we are now moving on with the switch case sa atong C programming. And what is switch case all about? So, here, when we say switch case is uh, it's a statement that allows us to execute one code block among many alternatives. So, as you probably watched na the prior video to this is the if-else condition statements. It is somewhat the same rugged sa if-else or the C if-else statements because what's good thing about switch case because it runs code block by block, and most probably this statement can be used for an option-driven application. Say for example, if you wanted to have a selection of a certain action, say for example, if on a part one you wanted to execute something and then another execution for the second block, and we'll be providing example later. So karon is ari sa ta sa syntax. So the syntax is just the switch keyword, the expression or your condition. So this one is the variable that we are going to evaluate or being switched, or it's the criteria that should be evaluating between these cases. So say for example, case 1. Yun na to, ang expression is equals to 1, then case 1, then ang i-execute ang statement nga naa diri. Mag-provide tag example para dili ta ma-confuse. But ato sang i-familiarize ang iyang syntax. So switch, open close parenthesis, and then the expression inside and open bracket, and match it with a closing bracket, and then the case, your constant one, or your a variable that you wanted to evaluate, or a certain value that you wanted to evaluate from the variable nga imong gi-switch, and then your statement or your block of code nga imong i-execute and then break. So the job of break here is if the case 1 is already fulfilled or being matched sa atong variable nga gi-switch, kay iyaning i-break ang program and it will go out to the switch expression, or it will jump out of this switch na to nga case. But if dili ni siya mo match and then mo jump siya diri sa ikaduha nga to nga case, and then i-execute if mo match diri. But if dili gihapon mo match is atong i-execute nga default output is being executed. Say for example, if you are going to select if an age is liable ba to vote or dili, and then if the age is too much or above 1 million, and then that's not an exact number, so pwede ta na gamiton as default nato nga execution. So how does the switch statement work? So if we provide an example here, mangita tanan na sila example. And first things first, ari sa ta siyang flowchart. So tara yung flowchart. Your switch value or the single expression nga imong gi-switch. And then kung mo equal siya sa case 1, iyang execute ang block, and if na-execute niya successfully is mo enter ang program or mo jump into another set of statements outside the switch. But if it's false, it doesn't match with the switch value nga imong gi-switch, is ari siya sa second case. And then if true, i-execute, but if false, ari siya sa case 3. But if false gihapon siya, ang iyang i-execute is the default nato nga code or the default statement nga atong gi-provide sa program. So here, another tara, simple calculator. Ato ning kapihon, and we will be discussing this. So C, Control C, and then paste. So save. So as you see, we are having here a variable char, which is giname nato siya as operator. So most probably ang atong i-expect nga input ani is not an integer but rather a character or a set of characters. And then we have double n1 and n2. So number 1 and number 2. So the numbers nga atong i-calculate. So double, since it will accept decimal points kay double man. And then printf ta for an output, enter an operator. So we select either atong i-input ba plus, minus, times, or divide. And then once ni-input ta sa atong operator which is ino nato ni-input ta og ato ning i-run here. So ayay. And then ato sa i-turn off akong file shield. Okay. And then ato i-run balik. So here, enter an operator. So once we enter in, say for example, mo enter ta og plus sign, and then enter two operands or the two numbers. So LF, two numbers, N1, N2. So ino na to 20 and 30, and then enter. So tara, 20 plus 30 is equals to 50. So how did it end up to 50? So we have here, we select an operator, and then we input our operands or the numbers nga atong i-calculate. So the first value is 20 and the other one is 30. So 20 and 30, 20 for N1, 30 for N2, and then here is atong giswitch ang operator. So ang giswitch na to, instead of the operands, ang atong giswitch ang operator. So case if the operator is ing ani atong gi-input the plus sign, kani ang i-execute. So naa na diri percent point point 1 nganong point 1 man ni kay the decimal point man ang giagaran ni. So ila lang gibutangan og point 1 pero kung double ra gyud is LF ra na siya. But for the sake lang nga dili daghan og ino nato 20.000 samo kayo. So ato lang butangan og point 1 para ang iyang decimal point is only 1 lang. So in that case limpyo siya tan-awon. So percent point 1 LF. So we use LF raba to call a double variable plus poison. This is only for a display or for an output, but the true execution happens here. So N1 which is 20, I place diri, and N2 which is 30, ibutang diri, and then N1 plus N2 that's 50, and ari na diri ibutang. So we use the operator nga plus sa atong first case. And then break. Once na break ang program is automatic, ari na siya sa return 0. But if dili ang operator plus, ato ino na to, atong gi-input is times, automatically kaning case is false. So false ang case, it doesn't match, so ari na sa diri. And thus, ingani, kung ingani atong input, ni match ba siya sa symbol? Wala gihapon, ni match ba diri? So ni match diri, so kani ang iyang i-execute. So ang giusab ani is the operation ra gyud in each line. So that it would look na nigana jud siya. And then if say for example, we run here and then atong gibutang is percent. So yun na to atong gibutang is run balik. Yun na to atong gibutang is percent. And then we enter and then 50 og 50. See error, operator is not correct. So tara mo ni atong giingon. If the operator atong gi-input is doesn't match on any of the case, kay ang i-execute is the default code or the error operator is not correct. So inyo ra na siyang tan-awon if mugana ba na siya. And then it doesn't only work with characters, it could also work with integers. Okay, let's have another example here. Include stdio.h and then int main. And then let's see, ino na to, if we wanted to know what uh, what what day of the week a certain number represents from 1 to 7. So ino na to, int number, and then printf, enter a number, and then scanf percent. Remember integer, so you use percent %d and percent the number, and then switch. Let's switch it. So switch into number case, and case 1. That's printf. That's Monday. So, ano to? Monday. And then remember to break the program, break. And then remember ang break hakay, it's a terminator. The other one is case 2. Let's copy this na lang. And then let's just change it. So case 2. Para di maglibog ato lang ibuwag-buwag. So case 2, that's Tuesday. Case 3, that's Wednesday. And then for case 4, that's Wednesday, Thursday. Then we have Friday for case 5. And then we have Saturday for case 6. And then another day for 7, which is the Sunday. And then if we're going to execute the code, so save and then run. Then let's say enter taog 5. So tara, so 5 is fit for Friday. So what if sir mo enter ko a number nga wala sa akong mga cases, so mo enter ko 9. So walay output. So mo nang time nga mag-add na taog another case, or I mean we will be adding the default code. Default, and then your code here, printf the hmm, number inputted doesn't does not match to any days of the week. Taasa. So, ato na yung i-run. And then, here, ino na to, 0. So, number inputted does not match to any days of the week. So, inga na, if wala diri sa cases ang imong gi-execute or imong gi-input, sa number is, wala sa, ay, ang iyang i-execute is the default. So, remember ha, case, it's not semicolon, but rather we use a colon only. We use semicolon sa statement and for break ra, and for the rest of the statement. But if cases lang is colon lang ang ato ang gamiton. So case and break, and then your code inside. Case, code inside, and then the break. So remember lang ta ana. So switch case doesn't only work with numbers and strings, but it could also work on a certain level, say for example, or a certain logical operation. Say for example, we wanted to know if a number is even or odd. So here na naman tayo integer nga number. So ato na lang ng i-add diri ang expression nato, which is modulo 2. So let's see if a number is an odd, or is a number is odd, or it's an even. So say for example, switch number modulo 2. Remember the operation modulo. Uh, it will get, or it will return whether two operands have a remainder or wala. So say for example, case 0. So kung walay i-return is nagpasabot ana is that's even. Kay say for example when we 5 divided by 2, 5 modulo 2, 5 divided by 2, that's 2, and it doesn't have a remainder. But if we say 6, I say I 5 divided by 2, I mean na siya remainder, which is 1, but the answer is 2, so na siya 1, so that's an odd number. But if, say for example, 10 divided by 2, so 10 divided by 2 or 10 modulo 2, that's 2, and it doesn't have a remainder, which is 0 na siya. So case 0, ato na siyang printf, percent %d, and %d is even. And then let's call number, and then break. Remember to break. And then case 1, then printf uh, %d is odd, and then you call the number, then break. So if we run this, mm, so say for example 5, so na siya remainder 1, so 5 is odd. So aside from 5, kung atong ibutang si 10, 10 is even. So it doesn't have a remainder. So in this case, kay it's 0, 0 remainder. So ano lang, we can always switch a certain value, logical operation, or a string or a set of string. So ano siya? And then that sums up for the switch. It's kuan naman sayon naman ni siya because it has a similar function with kuan with if else statement, but it's particular with cases. And then another one, or let's continue. Here we are done with CFLs. Karon is ari na ta sa looping or sa C flow or the for loops. So unsa na ni sila for loop. So let's see. So here, C for loop. In programming, a loop is used to repeat a block of code until the specified condition is met or is met. So say for example, if you want to execute a certain action over and over again, so it would be so dragging man or kapoy if sige lang kag input and then add na sa code, add na sa code, butang na sa code. So why don't we try to execute in a loop on a certain level or a certain condition is ma-met or ma-execute. So here, what is the syntax for? We have three types of loop, by the way. So the first one is the for loop, followed by the while loop and the do while loop. So we will be discussing this. And then here, what is for loop? So kaniyang syntax of for loop. So we have for, the keyword for, open and close parenthesis, and then open and close bracket. And then here is the first one is the initialization statement or the initialization. So the other one is, remember it's separated with semicolon. Here is the condition or the test expression and then the update statement or the iteration. So, unsa man siya pagbuhat sir ngano din na sir nganong ingana. So, here, remember initialization, the number or a certain variable nga asa ta mag-start, condition and then the iteration or the update. So, how does it work? So, here, imong initialization, if true, execute ang loop body and then i-check ang update expression and then if true gihapon, loop body gihapon and execute update ang imong expression and then if false na is ma-end na ang statement. So here, one basic example atong kapihon. Say for example, we wanted to print number 1 to 10. So hassle naman ako mag-input tag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So why don't we try to run a program with a single line and then it executes 10 numbers. So say ato nang i-paste. So print numbers from 1 to 10. And then here, 4, remember, it's declare tag int I. And then our initialization here. So initialization, we begin with 1. So that's what it meant. Asa ta magsugod? Where will be our starting point? So in this case, so 1. And then our condition. If I is less than 11, so if that's less than 11, kay ko ano siya, that's 10. It doesn't reach to exactly 11, but less than 11, that is 10. So 10 rata ko to man eh. And then plus plus I or I plus plus. It's up to you. But in my case, I don't really like plus plus I, but I plus plus yun ako. I plus plus and then open parentheses and then open bracket. So here. And then printf %d. Remember kasi since it's an integer. And then the I. You call I. Para say for example, it started with 1. So ang una dapat execute ani is 1. But ni-loop man ta. So ma-execute na siya. So let's try to run this. Save sa di and then loop C source file and then save. Here, tara, ni-execute siya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, this is what happened here. If we try to look at the graph, so remember that our initialization, it begins with 1. So, test expression. So pagtanong nato diri nag-start ta og 1, is I less than 11? So this is true. Is I less than 11? So pag true ani, remember when it's true gi-execute ang for loop body. So tara, gi-execute ni. So the first input nga nahitabo diri is si 1. And then since true pa man, update expression ang nahitabo is gi-add ni si I++. Remember that the I plus plus or I plus or the plus plus operation is equals to plus 1. Ano ba? So say for example when we try to 2 plus plus ang may sige maghatag-tag another set example ino na to. So ino na to natay number is equals to 10 and then ino na to 10 plus plus and then ino na to printf ino na to number and then percent d tawag na to si number and remember ha tanawa dire is number is equals to 10 then 10 plus plus so kung iranta ni uh, I mean number plus plus day number plus plus yung pares y pares and then here so tara the output will be 11. So naitabuan ni na plusan og 1. So that's what happened here sa I. So sa first loop is that begins with 1 then na I plus plus. So this becomes 2 on the second loop. So I is equals to 2 na pag update nato diri. So pag update diri si I nahimo ng 2 automatically. And then once it becomes a 2, gi-condition na sad balik is 2 less than or equals to or is 2 less than 11. So still that's true. And then gi-execute na sad ni, na-add na sad ni si 2. Asa to? Tara, na-add na sad ni si 2. And then na plus plus na sad pag execute ani, nag-execute ni pagka true ani, gi-execute dayon ni ang body and then the update so on and so forth. So pag abot na nato og 10, I nahimo ng 10 is I or 10 less than to 11 so that's still true. So, gi-execute ni, gi-add si 10, and then 10 plus 1, that becomes 11. So, pagkaabot na, is 11 less than to 11? And remember, 11 is not less than 11. They are equal. So, that's false na. Automatically, once the condition is false, it will jump out na diri sa imuhang program. It jumps out na. Wala na siya ni execute sa loop body and giprint na niya automatically ang numbers from 1 to 10. Showing Anna. And then say for example you wanted to print 5 ka hello world. So if you wanted to print 5 ka hello world, so ano lang hello world. Hello world. And then say for example 5 naman ato gipanguta. Let's start with 1 and then it's less than 6. So tara. So when we try to run that, tara hello world. Dito ka ihap atong butangan og backslash n. Then tara. Then here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So less than 6, that's 5. Still, it provides us an exact output. So that sums up for loop. So remember lang taan ang for loop. And then, nasa tayo like example. Say for example, we wanted to add numbers within the loop. So, ino na to. We wanted to add all the numbers. Ino na to, printf, and then %d, and then I, run. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So that becomes pila 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if we wanted to do that is ano na lang mag-declare ta og another variable which is what we call sum is equals to 0 and then let's call sum plus sum I mean sum is equals to sum plus I. So, every time nga magsige siya loop, i-add niya sa sum. And then, kung i-print na si sum dire, dili na lang ta ni i-print I mean, dili na nato i-print ang output. Ano na lang. And then let's try to print a sum for the final one. Percent %d. And then let's call sum. And run. And then here, gi-add niya tanang numbers from 1 to 10, from 1 to 5, that becomes 15. So what happened here is, uh, sum here is 0. By that time nga ni-execute ni, 0 plus 1, the first loop is 1 man, so sum plus 1, and then true pa man, so execute balik, plus plus, so I becomes 2. So 1 plus 2, that's 3, and then the plus na sa 3 kay ni-update, so that's 6, giplasan na sa dog 4, that becomes 10, and then giplasan na sa dog 5, pinaka-last sa loop, and then it becomes 15. So, remember lang taan eh. And then if you, this natay ginatawag nga assignment operator. So, this is the, the mano-mano nga pamaagi, but natay assignment operator, which is we call the plus, equals, and then I. So kani silang duha, they have the same function, but kani is gigamitan nila nato siya og og special operator. So say for example kung i-run ta ni, tara, still it gives us an exact output of 15. So ano lang, ayaw lang mo ka confuse if you somewhat like meet calculation that looks like this. Plus equals. So it's like we're adding only it to the variable sum ra gihapon. And then pariharan ani na sa babaw. Unsa pa man sa for loop pwede na itong ma-discuss. So, remember initialization, condition, and then the iteration or the update statement. And then remember lang, if you wanted to print usa lang ka number is ayo lang ipasud sa loop. Kay kung ari nimo i-print sud sa loop is ang case man gud ani kung ari na nato ibutang sa sud is it will keep on producing output. Tara, to the point nga error jud siya. 26, 12, 30, so kuan lang, tuning nato tangtangon tani. So tara, it will give us kung ato siyang isud sa loop. Ang statement is tara mahimo sa first loop is 1, sa second loop nahimo na siyang 3 kay giplasan sa 2, giplasan sa 3 nahimong 6, giplasan sa 4 nahimong 10, giplasan sa 5 nahimong 15 kung ato na siyang isud. But if you wanted lang pinaka last na lang is ari na lang outside sa loop sa 4, and then tara, it gives us 15. So, careful lang taan nga mga situations, and then especially on this kind of operators nga gamiton kay usually daghan kay mga programs nga ingani lang style. It doesn't only work with addition, but it also work with subtraction, multiplication, and division. So, careful lang. That's it for loop. And now let's continue for the while loop. So, how do while loop works? Okay, here. Wait, tara. So, another example of while loop is, tara, this is the syntax. So, kung ganina, ang syntax is initialization, condition, and then your update. But karon is naadari while and then your test expression. So, say for example, tara, mao ni ang iyahang flowchart. So, test expression, while loop body, and then if true, keeps on looping, the expression is keep on being true. But if it becomes false, it will automatically go out from the loop. So another example here, let's also display lang gihapon nato ang 1 to 5. So int I is equals to 1, and then if you would think, if you would really see lang yun on how to do while is, it's also similar ra gihapon with the for loop because nara gihapon siya initialization, but yung initialization is outside ra sa loop body. So while, so kani, this is now what we consider as the initialization sa atong gamiton nga while. So while, and then while I is less than to 6, and then you printf, mm, percent %d and then your I. And then backslash n lang sa di. And then your update. Putangan naa gihapon tong update or the iteration na to. So I plus plus. I mean here is I. If I is while I is less than 6 and then tara gibuwag lang siya in a way. So diri sa baba ang initialization or outside sa loop body and then the condition which is naa diri and then the update which is inside sa atong loop body. So kung i-run ta ni ay sobra. Let's see na siya. Ay, okay, wala siya terminator. Then tara. So, it executes gihapon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, most probably, it's the same with for loop. Basta katulto lang ka sa gibutang ang initialization, ang condition, ug ang iteration. So, that's what makes while useful. So, let's try another function sa while. So, ino na to. When you try to see, enter age. So, ino na to, enter age. I mean, atong variable will be int age. So, int age and then printf enter age. So, in this case, scanf and then we wanted to know percent %d and then the age. So, the condition dayon nato dere. We wanted to see if the age of a certain person yan gamit sa imong application is above 18 if he is liable to vote. So while I so enter age. So pag enter niya age, ino na to, yung age nga gi-enter is 13. So still that's not allowed to vote. So ato siyang butangan og while program or while condition or while loop to see or to let him enter over and over and over again his age until he input the correct age. So say for example, while age is less than, if it's less than 18, so printf na yun dere. Printf invalid age. And then tangan din na mo enter again. So yes, it allows you to invalid age, enter again. So magbutang na sa kag scanf. So in this case, dili na iteration imong update but rather is the program itself na. So scanf percent %d and then you call the age. So wala na ang update na to instead of I++ karon is our update is kani. So kung if we will run this, so enter tag age. So remember that the condition is kuan man if less than 18. So kung atong i-19, tara, mo proceed ra ang program sa uh, output na to. So magbutang lang ta diri para mailhan nato sa ubos og uh, you you are allowed to cast your vote. Okay. And then if dili kay so tara if yung age is 18, so okay, nganong walay output while age is less than, we run this. Ano na to? 17. Okay, so nganong wala ni gana ang program. Okay, tara. So we missed the ampersand dere. Remember ha, ang input na dyan na siya ay ampersand. So when we try to run this, error ID, exit status. Okay, okay, wala na to na exit ang program. Run, and then tara. So we enter 20, or say for example 15 lang. So invalid age. So the program won't stop not unless your age exceeds 18 or exceeds 17. So say for example, your age is 12, your age is 14. Again, nakalimutan sa ampersand dere. And then let's try it again. Here, ni-enter ta sa atong age. Yun na to, the first age is 12, so that's invalid gihapon. 12, 15, 16, 13, 11, 9, and then 18. So pag abot na og 18, mao na tong time nga na the program na has become false. The condition here is na become false na because 18 is not less than to 18. It's equals to 18, so false ni siya automatically gi-execute dayon ni. So mo na siya, that's the gamit sa tong while loop. And this is also one thing about while loop. If you don't know how to manipulate the update of your while loop is, most cases is you will end up on a infinite loop. So we need to be careful, especially if musud ta og loop, especially sa while loop, kay it might cause us to end up with if infinite loop or the internal looping or dili na siya muhunong but sige na siya og loop. So mo na siya ha, remember lang ta sa while loop nga not unless the condition is false, uh, the loop will still continue or the kani i-execute nig balik-balik basta sige ni og ka-true. If this is true, keep on true basta true gyapon ang condition kay i-execute ra gyud ni ang iyang body but if ma-false na ni ang condition is kani ang i-execute. So mo ni siya, we use for loop if we know asa ta kutob. We're on a certain number ta mo end. We use while loop if we don't know where to end sa ato ang program. Mo na siya, if we are going to set a certain criteria for our program is we use while loop. And the last one is the do while loop. So unsa din ni si do while loop? Ang nakakuan sa do while loop is it executes first the program or a block of code here. So for loop sa do while loop, i-execute niya una ang body before ta maka-test expression, before we end up with an expression. But if the condition or the expression na to is true, it will do again the do while body. So what's one good thing here is naka-execute ta una, wala pa tay condition, but once true ang expression, gi-execute na sad nato ang loop body. But if false na ang atong expression, that automatically exits the statement. So here, what's the example? So say for example, int same program maghapon age, I mean I is I, and then ino na to the syntax. Do not forget the syntax is tara do and then open bracket and then the while expression and do not forget the terminator sa sunod sa while expression. Do not forget the terminator. And then here do so mag-initialize ta daan ni let's start with I is equals to 1 and then do to printf I and then percent %d I and then your while which is supposed to be outside sa loop body. So do while and then the terminator, do not forget while I is less than to 6. Buhat na lang gihapon ang do. So kung iranta ni, this is what I call infinite loop. It will always loop if we don't exactly have a certain update sa atong program. So kani is, you see, wala tay update gibuhat. So this is what happened. We messed up. So mo na siya, the loop, it keeps on looping good. Di siya mahuman. So, pwede naman na nato i-control C or exit nato dito. So how are we going to get out is we always need to make sure nga naatay update sad. update sa ato ang program. So tara. And then here, maura gihapon ang yung output, it gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nga execution or output. Ano to backslash nb. So run and then tara 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So ayaw jud kalimot sa update because the update always causes the program to error. Make sure lang ganyan natin update. So where can we usually execute this program and how many nato siya paggamit? Say for example, namon ko yung mga programs nga ipabuhat and then usually I always wanted to execute the program over and over not until I am satisfied. So magamit yun ni siya. Say for example, we wanted to kuan ha katong to check whether a number is odd or even. So balik ko nato tong odd or even nato nga program. Okay, in this example, so do while. Ato lang gihapon siyang let's try to do a code. Kato lang gihapong let's check whether a number is even or odd. So int num and then we wanted to know a number is even or odd. So di gihapon tumawa ang printf. Enter uh, enter a number and then scanf percent d. Then we call num and then if num modulo 2 is equals to 0, that's I mean printf and then that's even. So percent d is even and then you call the num then nakalimutan sa ampersand diri and another one else. So printf percent d is odd and tawagan gyapon sin num. So let's check if mo gana ning a program. So 5, I mean 6, 6 is even. How about 7? So 7 is odd, so nigana ra. Karon is we wanted to apply the do while loop. So ang gamit sa do while loop is how about I wanted to execute the program and na to enter kog 8 but the program won't end. Ganahan ko nga magpadayon gihapon ang program. Like it would ask me nga, do you want to enter a number again? So dili lang kay ngani. Kay mo enter ko balik, wala na. Di na ako ka-enter. So, bati kayo. So, diri na nato ma-implement ang do while loop. Do not forget to include the do. So, do. And then open. Then nagparisan din ani mo diri og close for your while. So, usually when you do program ha, kay butangan lang dyan na rin yung mga intention para when you do debugging kay dili mo magproblema. And then do. So makita man sana ninyo as you see, di ba nga, puwa. So mo ni yung partner. Mao ni yung partner. So make sure lang nga every braces na sila partner. And then while, then the terminator. So in this case is, di ba, ganahan man tanga na yung mga utana na to. Atong butangan diri, printf. And then let's say, do you want, do you want to input number again? Then there's and to answer for that whether yes or no. And then scanf percent C. Percent C. Anong percent C? Because usara ka variable yes or no naman. Usa ka letter. So option. So mag-declare sa tadaan og char nga option. And then tara. So char option is a character or a single string or a single letter. Karon since na natay option while butangan nato condition diri while ay na day while option is equals to small y or small basig mo input ang user og small y or option is equals to capital Y basing naka-caps yan ko hindi ka bantay ato na lang andamandaan. So, pag y ang yang gi-input is kung true, remember if the condition here is true, kay mobalik siya sa do. Pero if the condition here is false, none of this apply kay mo outside siya sa loop and then i-execute niya ang printf, thank you, thank you for using the code. Then if we run that, so enter number 5, why bati walay percent backslash n. So na percent c and do not forget the ampersand di and then run. So 5. Thank you for using the code. Kay natay error diri asa man ni ang error. Percent D num and num char option. Do you want to input again? Scanf percent C and option while option is equals to Y. Lakadagan. Okay, tara. Kani. C while yang pares save and then run. 8 8 is even. Do you want to enter again? Ano ni Ditsu? Ano ni Ditsu man? Ano ni Ditsu man is siya? Yes. Tara. So here, to i-run. Enter number 5. No, to 5 is odd. So ni-ask din siya, do you want to input number again? Yes or no? So once I type Y, so it asks again, enter a number. So ito to 8. So 8 is even. Do you want enter number again? So yes, gihapon akong answer. 6. 6 is even. Then once I answer no, automatically, mo gawas dayon. Thank you for using the code. So, inga na lang. And then, let's try it again. Okay, na siya yung problema diri. Why don't we try to use percent %s daw? Para dili mo magproblema. Tara. So, percent %s lang gamita. Ayaw lang mo pag percent C. And then, enter a number. 60. 60 is even. And then when I say no, so tara, thank you for using the code. So how did it happen? So percent %s and then option. So here, gi-execute daan ang program and then nangutana dayon while I do you want to import again. So imong gi-enter is anad dili y. So option, remember ha, you also need to remember this the logical operator ato na nang discussion. This other one, this is the equivalence operation or the so ito tawag ani the relational operations and then the other one is the logical operation. So two pipelines is or operator or operator. So unsa na ng or pipeline? So when you say ino na to sa notepad. Ino na to when we say zero or I mean or false false or false, that's false. And when you say false or true, that's true. And then if true or false, that's true. And then true or true, that's true. So remember lang ta na. So that's how OR operator works in C programming. If a statement here is false and another statement here is false, automatically the code or the output for that program, that certain condition is false. But if only if there's true in the operands of this operator, kay automatically true. And aside from that, remember ha, that's two pipelines, kanang kilid sa shift or upside sa enter. And then nasa tayo another logical operator nga AND. So false and false, that's false. And false and true, that's false. True and false, that's false. And then true and true, that's true. So If naalay false sa executes or sa operator nga and kay automatically false na siya. But if both statement is true, automatically true. So in this case, or operator atong gigamit is, what if mo enter si user og capital Y or small y? So ato na siyang gipangandaman. And then, mo na to siya, once I enter other letter aside from Y is false na siya. That's why ni-jump out na siya sa program nga yan na nang execute. Thank you for using the code. So, inga na lang. Let's be careful in terms of using while loop lang jud kay it is really a big help, especially when I request programs nga with this kind of feature. Kay how come 'di ba nga mo enter dito ang program without even the user being able to evaluate more values inside of it. So that sums it. That's a wrap for this video discussion. So sa flow control, and then keep updated lang ta sa ato ang classroom kay prelim para may nakabutang diri, and then let's kuan lang do it in a way nga makaapas mo sa ato ang klase. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video. Ako ra tong mag-record for the other continuation of this class.